Alright guys, I have another winter project here I thought I would share with you. This building here, this little shed, it's actually a well, like a pump house that they had for the water on the farm. This was the same well that they had used when they had the dairy cows. It's really sitting down low here, and it has electric to it to run the well pump, and they had all the water softeners and conditioners, but I thought I'd show you. I saw pictures from the 60s, and this foundation here, this whole area, this used to be a milk house, and there's tons of snakes in here, so I don't want to get too close, but you can see down in there, there's like a water, this fills up with water. There's a spring, there's actually a pipe under there that fills with water, and I'm pretty sure that's where they had the milk cans. And this was a pretty large building for a milk house. Here's another part of the foundation, so it went up and around. Then over here, it came all the way out to here. I mean, that was probably 20 by 20. But anyway, in line with my ideas of expanding, you saw my video on the concrete silo, and thinking about getting some steers. I have to get this well working again. What had happened was this well fed the barn and the house. And for two houses, there's two houses on the property. So it fed two houses and the barn with the dairy cows. And the issue here, underground somewhere, and it wasn't very far, it was somewhere under here over to my shop. The pipe had, I don't know if it froze or busted or what, but it broke, and it was just leaking water, and we weren't getting any water pressure up to the houses, and it was muddy. And so they had drilled a new well up for the houses, so the houses are on their own well, and by doing that they basically bypassed the barn, and there's no water in the barn at the moment. But to get this working again, all I'd have to do is basically dig a trench over to the barn where there's a waterer in there, and I'll show you that then later. It's right about there where the two buildings meet. There's a waterer that comes underground, so I can get a trench dug and get some pipe underground. And it's probably going to be a good idea to update the electrical. You can see it's the old glass screw-in fuses. I haven't determined yet if the well pump is 120 or 220 or 120, 110, sorry. Whatever it is, you know what I'm talking about. I have to figure out what motor's on this well down here. And this can come out. This is disconnected. And I have the power from the breaker shut off over here, so all this should be dead. And then for whatever reason, they have two separate panel boxes, little panel boxes. I'm pretty sure this one went to the well. Yeah. And this one over here, they have receptacles in here for whatever reason. I think because on account of freezing, they had a heat lamp in here. And they had all this Culligan water softener. They had a glow light in here. The whole 9 yards. They have the insulation in to help keep it from freezing. It never froze since I'm here. I'm here about 6-7 years. And it was 2-3 years ago when we had the well problem. So it never froze. But I can eliminate a lot of this. I don't need any of this water treatment or water stuff if it's just for cattle. Probably just a filter. Try to get the biggest inline filter, on account of what I'd like to do is down here be able to fill the sprayer. Right now I have to pull up to my house, and when you're kind of in your front yard slopping around with chemicals and the sprayer, it's not the best. There is a dam on the property. I do have a little pond, but the landlord doesn't, I didn't ask him for sure, but I don't think he'd want me hanging around the dam with chemicals and the sprayer and stuff, because there's a lot of people fishing and walking around it and stuff. So try to keep a good public image and not have people think I'm there putting chemicals in the pond. I'm sure you guys that farm and know about the attack on people spraying and herbicides, and that's the whole thing I don't want to get into. So to try to keep a low profile, I don't want to go near that dam to fill the sprayer, even though it would be convenient. What we're going to do is get this well working. And I do have an expansion tank to get some pressure to put in here. And what I can do then is down here, this nice grassy area where I have stone under this grass, I can pull here with the sprayer and run the hose out of this house, and then I don't need to even worry about water from the other well for the houses. And what I might even do is get like a 500-gallon tank or even a 1,000-gallon water tank and set it aside of this building, and that way it takes forever to fill my sprayer with the garden hose to get 500 gallons. So if I can put a 1,000-gallon tank here, I can run the hose in and just have it filling while I'm spraying, so I can get two sprayer fulls out of the deal anyway. Try to save some time. So yeah, this is what this little building is. Needs some work, needs some updating, but I think this winter, if I can get the wiring done, we can get the water in here for some cattle, some steers. One nice thing is we do have a local butcher shop that does butchering and stuff, so I don't know if I'd want to go through the whole 9 yards of packaging and selling it, or going to auction. But here's the water I was talking about. It probably could be upgraded. There's a brand new one of these in the bottom of the barn. I don't know much about them. If any of you guys had any experience with this style, I don't know if they're frost free. When there was water down here, when I first moved in, you could hear it running. It was like circulating, so I guess that's how it didn't freeze. There's like a concrete or a steel plate on top. When I was on the dairy farm, we had those green frost-free waters, and they seem to be pretty well zero maintenance. We didn't have any issues with freezing. But yeah, they have this whole concrete step here, and I got to make a decision if we want to do this and get some steers and get water back in here, and if not, if that's not a possibility, I'd like to chisel this stupid thing right out of here because it's sticking out, and getting equipment in and out of here. If this is going to stay a shop or a freestall barn, got to make some decisions here. It's a lot harder making decisions excuse me, when you don't own the place, when it's just a rental. Now, like I say, I have a pretty long-term rental and I have a lot of years that I can make it work, but when it's not yours, you don't want to put out a whole lot of money or do too much that cost you and you're not going to get a return on. So another winter project we want to look into, regardless of the cattle. If I get cattle or not, I want to get that well working, just to make it better to fill a sprayer. So thanks for watching, guys.